My hair is so shiny. It is great. It is 1:30. Yay. Let's make my light go closer. That's good. That's enough. Yes, we have the blinds pulled. It's like dark in here because it's so hot outside. Hey, it's pretty cool in here today, though. I want to say the air conditioning is working. It was having trouble. I have good air conditioning here, but it was really having trouble the other day because it was just so hot. It was just so hot that even the greatest central air conditioning was just going. That was like all it could do. And we have great air conditioning. We have a lovely air conditioner here. And it was just going, as like it was just barely, it was mildly, it was sort of swamp-like. It's like, oh, the house has been cooled down to a lovely balmy 86 degrees. It was like at night. Horrible, hard to sleep. It seems to have cooled off just enough, like last night and this morning, and I covered up one of the windows here, that it's kicking in, and it's like actually kind of cool in the house. They got fans going. So I'm going to put like blackout drapes, seal up the windows like a crazy person. And, but it'll help. It'll help. So hanging out here, I have the everything crackers again. Oh, what? I gotta get more. Root beer. A&W. Remember A&W? They still have them. A&W root beer. It's delicious. I make them float. Do they still have A&W root beer? Burger places, drive-thrus? Is that still a thing? I don't know. It's not a California thing. I do not see them out here. I'm not sure they were ever in California. But is that a thing like in Idaho? What do we not have here? We don't. Hardee's. Hardee's is not a California thing. We do not have Hardee's. You have Hardee's out there. We don't have Circle K, I think it is market. What's that weird one? They have the big cups that I like so much. I can't remember. But you have all these cute little mini markets and things. We don't have. Oh, Foster's Freeze. We still have. You can find a Foster's Freeze. There's like 2 of them. You'd have to drive quite some distance out of LA. But the last 2 Foster Freezes, I found them. Oh, Michigan. Okay, that's Michigan. Yeah. So okay, so you have Foster's. You have A&W. A&W is fabulous. Hardee's is good too. It's such a Monday. It is so Monday. It is such a Monday. I'm like, but at least I have pretty hair. My hair is not Monday. It's a Monday, but my hair is Saturday night. It's awesome. Okay. Monday. Good heavens. It is August 17th. Oh, it is the 17th, and it's National Nonprofit Day. That's very, very good. Any charities that you like or thinking of donating to, today would be the day. It's National Nonprofit Day. Oh, wait. Can I think of one? Oh, wait. Yes. Protect.org. That's the charity I'm on the board of, and that is PROTECT, Protect, just like it sounds, .org, because it's a charity, org.com, protect.org, and go visit and see what we're doing, because it's very interesting things to protect them during children, because protect, basically, people are awful, so we had to found Protect. But yeah, you're doing so check it out. Go check out your charities. It is Nonprofit Day to help everybody out. Hey, so I'm seeing all these people from like everywhere. Is anybody here from Massachusetts? It's National Massachusetts Day. I like Massachusetts. I have friends in Massachusetts. There it is. It is. Do you know that? I didn't know there was this day. There's National I Love My Feet Day. I love my feet. God, I try to be very nice to my feet. No, I have very sensitive feet, and I actually got that thing. What do they call it? Plantar fasciitis. I can hardly even say it, but it's the thing where the arches of your feet hurt, like really bad. But I got better. Yes, usually plantar fasciitis is like forever. I was wearing the wrong kind of shoes, and it had to do with the bats. It was the bats. I was in Austin, fabulous Austin, Texas, yes. And I was doing a show there, and they have this bridge, and these bats, there's so many bats in Austin, Texas, that they don't even know what to do with them all. Little tiny bats. And these bats, apparently, live under the bridge. And they say, there's literally millions of bats under this bridge in Austin. I'm like, okay, if you say so. And supposedly, when it's spring, starts at sundown, the bats all come out from under the bridge. bat noises, and go flapping off into the night, and it's quite spectacular. And they have bat souvenirs and t-shirts and everything, and people gather, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people gather under this bridge and go, wait for these bats to come out. So I was told this was happening. I'm like, yes. I go running down there. I walked from my hotel. I walked and went sightseeing, and I'm like already kind of going, ow, and I didn't have the good art support shoes, so, and the ground was uneven, and I stood there for 2.5 hours. It was, I don't know, like, it was ANC, January, February, April, and they didn't come out till May that year. They didn't come out. They were like still bat hibernating or whatever. They did not come out, and I stood there for 2 hours on rocky, uneven ground with the dad, and it was bad. Hurt my footies. I did. And the next morning I woke up and went, ah! And my feet hurt so bad I could hardly walk. But I went to the doctor, and he gave me exercises and cold things, and said, yeah, all of your shoes will now be art support. If you just, that's the one thing, you will never wear cheap, crappy shoes again. So I'm wearing sneakers now, but they're like super duper art support. Everything I have is like super duper art support. I find stores that sell that stuff, and I haven't really had any trouble since. But those bats, I'm mad at those bats because they really hurt my feet. Yes, it is National Thrift Shop Day. A lot of the thrift shops, they're closed. They're closed where I am because, you know, the pandemic, because there's small, crowded spaces. I hope some of them are opening up. Maybe they, like, limit the number of people. I love thrift shops. I live for thrift shops. I have so much stuff that is from thrift shops, and then I donate to thrift shops. I hope they open up because I have all this stuff in the closet. Like, every month I fill up, like, bags, and I take it to a charity. I take it out of the closet to Goodwill. Or I take it to someone. Yeah, I can't take it anywhere. They're full. They can't. So, I love thrift shops. I do love it. You have to be nice to your feet. I try to be nice to my feet. It's Black Cat Appreciation Day. Poor Morticia. You know, Roswell, the new kitten, is giving her such a hard time because she thinks it's funny. She's like, oh, yay, here, let me jump on your head. She jumps on my head, too. So poor Morticia's like, And Morticia got, I couldn't find her, and I shut a door to the spare bedroom, and yeah, she was in there. So so Morticia's really mad. She's like, oh, fine, you shut me in a room for like 3 hours. What is wrong with you? So Morticia's hiding. I have her favorite food out. She hasn't come out. I think she knows it's Black Cat Appreciation Day, and that I would try to get her on camera. So hence she has hidden under the bed, and it's like, not doing it. But yes, I have this enormous, gorgeous, she's a Bombay. I did not know there was a Bombay. And then we got the little black kitten. She was like this big. She was tiny. She'd been abandoned. This lovely woman was fostering her with all these other animals. But she was the cutest thing. And she was so tiny. And then we fed her, and she's just muscles. So I picked her up one day. I was like, it's all muscle. So much muscle. And then I looked up this thing. I started looking up going, what happens when you get a frail, tiny, rent-to-litter black kitten, and suddenly it's like all muscle and like a panther. And she turned into a panther. And I looked it up, and I went, oh, there is a cat called Black Bombay, which is a breed of black cat that is a house panther. They're tiny. They're smaller than a panther, but they're built like a panther. They are so strong. And, can be taught her to play fetch. Someone said Bombays can be taught to fetch. Oh, we didn't even have to teach her. Like, we threw a toy, and she, like, brought it back. Morticia loves to fetch. She's now 5-6 years old, and she fetches. So every morning she'll bring the ball and she'll fetch. Now, of course, she's mad because guess who likes to fetch? Roswell, who's this weird white kitty with gray and huge ears who shouldn't know how to fetch, who brings me the ball in the morning now and demands to fetch. And then that gets funny because then Morticia shows up and I throw the ball and the two of them go. And they wind up crashing into each other trying to catch the ball. It's adorable. But they're working it out. But yes, I have a great big black cat, and she's so smart. Black cats are smart. They're smart. And so I named her Morticia. Yes, after Morticia Adams. And now we have little white Roswell. They're quite the duo. They're actually starting to hang out together. Slowly. They're becoming friends. Okay, so Monday. It's such a Monday. I'm dropping. See, I just like dropping stuff. I'm a mess here. Well, I'm picking it up later. Whatever. So, we're up to chapter 12. This is great. Again, for those of you just tuning in, we are still on a biography, Laura Ingalls Wilder, by William Anderson, who is so cool. We like him. And they finally got to Missouri, and she really wanted to get there. And then they have their farm, and indeed she named it Rocky Ridge because, if you're in that part of Missouri, you know there's all these rocks and stuff. It's very cool. So, she's finally there. Our idea of an ideal home is one built by a man and woman together, Laura said. Now, that's something that's come up repeatedly. They said, we're going to do this farming as a team. And she said, I don't want to say obey in the wedding. And Almanza said, I'm not putting obey in there. And even the Reverend doesn't want to say obey. So, absolutely no. So there you go. Man and woman build that farm together. She's, gung-ho. Well, that's what Caroline was, right there with Paul. The Wilders' Rocky Ridge farm was developed through Laura and Manley working together to transform their Ozark land into a fruit, dairy, and poultry farm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. I'm still going to burp. I'm drinking. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here drinking root beer. You know I'm going to burp. I'm sorry. Is it those apple trees? Just as they had been partners as wheat farmers in South Dakota, the Wilders were determined to create a successful farm in Missouri because Manley was still weakened by his crippled feet. He needed Laura's quickness and energy. She became Manley's best helper. See, love your feet. His poor feet. He had that stroke. Diphtheria damaged the nerves. The virus damaged the nerves, and so his hands and feet don't work. Through that first winter on Rocky Ridge, Laura and Manley worked to clear the brush and timber from their land. Some of the fallen trees were saved to use as fence rails and for building a log barn and hen house. Laura loved working in the winter woods, where the gray tree trunks stretched up to the sky and the ground was frosty and hard underfoot. A two-man crosscut saw was used in felling the trees. Laura pulled one end of the saw and Manley pulled the other, and the raspy sound filled the woods. See, there you go. They were partners. They were equals. They both got on either end of that saw. And just, yeah, she could do it. While Laura and Manley worked in the woods, Rose studied in the red brick school in town. Often, when she walked up the path to the cabin after school, she could hear the ringing of her father's axe from the woods. He cut wagon loads of wood and hauled them into Mansfield to sell for 75 cents a load. That money helped buy groceries and kerosene during the first months on Rocky Ridge, along with money from the eggs Laura sold. By spring of 1895, 20 acres of land were cleared in time to plant that apple orchard and the first crops, because they had 400 apple trees. The people who owned it said, we're going to do this orchard thing, and bought the thing and got 400 apple trees, and then I guess looked at how many that is and said, I'm not planting these things, and just left the apple trees in their little containers and walked away and didn't bother to build a house. That's what it's just a cabin. So somebody freaked out and panicked at the thought of planting and caring for 400 apple trees, and that's why they got a deal on the place. During spring planting time, Laura and Manley and Rose worked together to sow seed for the cornfield at the head of the ravine. Rose was only 8, but she helped Laura plant the garden seeds and gather the eggs the hens laid in the grasses near the cabin. Heck, when she was 3, they had her firing up a wood stove. Didn't go very well. Oh, berries. All right, finish my cracker. Ooh, huckleberries. When huckleberries and blackberries ripen in the woods, I do love blackberries, Rose picked them for pies or walked into town to sell them for 10 cents a gallon. At school, Rose Wilder quickly became known as the smartest pupil in her class. Yay. She could spell her way to the head of the line in the Friday spelling contest, and she loved to read. From the library shelves at school, she brought books home to read aloud by the firelight. Just like this, she'd read aloud. While Manley ate his evening bowl of popcorn, and Rose worked her arithmetic sums by the light of the kerosene lamp, Laura read to them all. During those evenings by the fire, they read The Leather Stocking Tales, 5 Little Peppers, and How They Grew, Pride and Prejudice, Ben-Hur. Oh, exciting. They read Ben-Hur for the evening book. The House of the Seven Gables, and Martin Chuzzlewit. Ooh, I wonder if they... Anne of Green Gables. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Laura Ingalls Wilder was reading that one. This is great. You know what? Her bringing these books home and having Laura read them out loud and sort of perform them while they did homework and ate popcorn. This was like... Can we rent a movie? This is like, should we download a movie? or back when you had video story, bring home a DVD. What are we watching tonight? What are we downloading? Well, I brought home House of the Seven Gables. That sounds good. So that's what they were their entertainment. They also liked the suspense of reading several stories printed in serial stories printed in newspapers. That was very big. They talked about that in the books. Even Ma did that. Each week, a new chapter would appear. And each week, the chapter would end abruptly, leaving the Wilders eager to know what would happen next. Cliffhangers. Before they had left South Dakota, the De Smet News and Leader had started printing a story called The Rockanock Stage. The what? The Rockanock? Rockanock. Excuse me. I sneezed. The Rockanock Stage. I don't know. Rockanock. Rockanock. Rose enjoyed the tale so much that Grandma Ingalls sent each weekly installment on to the Wilders in Missouri after it had been read aloud to Mary. One week, Grandma Ingalls' letters didn't come. Grandma Caroline is now Grandma Ingalls. Grandma Ingalls' didn't come, and Rose wrote immediately asking for the missing installment. Grace went from house to house on 3rd Street until she found another copy and mailed it to her eager niece. She was so hooked on the cliffhanger story. Ma Ingalls was sending them from South Dakota, and when they didn't come, it's like, go get one! On Sundays, after their busy week of work and school, the Wilders drove to town in the buggy to attend services at the Mansfield Methodist Church. Sometimes, now that's Methodist, remember they were Congregationalists. They're very strict Congregationalists, but I guess Methodist, go there. Sometimes they spent the rest of the day at the Coolies, or the Coolies came out to Rocky Ridge for the afternoon. Those are the nice people they rode out with, who sounded pretty nice. They still liked them. They're at the hotel. If the weather was good, Laura liked to serve picnic dinners in the ravine. That'd be fun. While the parents rested along the shady ledges, Rose and Paul and George waded in the creek, ran up and down the steep hills, or used the tough grapevines as swings. Little Tarzan children swinging for the vine. Laura and Rose enjoyed showing company how they had tamed wild birds and squirrels to eat from their hands. Manly and Laura still loved horseback riding, and together they rode over the hills of Rocky Ridge or along leaf-shaded roads nearby. They were determined that Rose should learn to ride, so they bought her a fat, stubborn little donkey to start with, named Spookendike. A donkey? If you're going to learn to ride a horse, we got you a donkey. Now, I don't know. Is that better? Now, they're better than ponies. Now, the Greenbush twins, Robin and Rachel, play Baby Carrie. They told me about this stuff. Ponies can be mean and temperamental. They're not nice like horses. And so sometimes people put children on ponies thinking, oh, this will be much better than a horse. We'll just put her in a pony, because they're little. And then the pony, sits down and you fall on the ground and the pony is, laughing at you. It's like, should have been better with horse. I don't know. Donkeys. I would think a donkey would be a little rough, but she had indeed a pet donkey. And we saw pictures of that in the other book. Her pictures of her donkey, Spookendike. I think there's a picture in here. All these pictures. Oh, lots of pictures. Where's Spookendike? Who's on the way home? There was a Spookendike donkey photo. It totally was. I bet no, there's not a Spookendike donkey picture in here. There must be. All right. Spookendike! Who comes up with these names? Spookendike the donkey? Is a donkey, a good riding animal for little kids? They don't, dump them on the ground or kick them? I don't know. Spookendike. Rose quickly grew to hate her pet. Oh, I guess the donkey wasn't a good idea. That's terrible. Rose quickly grew to hate her pet donkey, especially when she was expected to ride him the mile to school and back. I think it'd be better walking, no? Each morning, Rose, carrying her dinner pail and books, mounted Spookendike, but by the time they reached the gate at the bottom of the hill, the determined donkey would balk. He'd slump forward, letting Rose, her books, and her dinner tumble to the ground. Rose was usually forced to lead Spookendike to school, where she tied him up, only to listen to his embarrassing squealings while she studied in the quiet classroom. He was one of my most hated, if not the most hated memories, Rose later said, laughing when she recalled Spookendike and her trips back and forth to school with him. Oh, I know he was so cute, but yeah, that was what I was concerned. Is the donkey good for a kid to ride? Apparently no. He did exactly what the ponies will do. He dumped her on the ground. So wait, she took the donkey to school, parks him outside, and then she's in school, and the donkey's going hee-haw all day long. That's awful. There you go. Kim just said donkeys are smart. They know when someone doesn't like them. Boom. There you go. Rose hated her donkey. There's pictures of her with the donkey. She hated the donkey. Poor donkey. By the second summer on Rocky Ridge Farm, the Wilders were cheerfully prospering. Oh, finally, after all that nearly starving to death. They were able to meet the payments on their land and pay the 8% interest rates. It's rather high. Mortgage rates are quite low now. They bought 6 more acres for $18. Wow. Now they had a cow and a pig, and more grazing land was needed. Oh, that's good. Rose and Laura churned good butter, which sold in town for 10 cents a pound. Remember, they would only pay 3 cents for Laura's eggs and didn't want her butter at any price? Well, so things are looking up. They want their butter. There were extra vegetables to sell to the townspeople who had no gardens. We thought we were rich, Laura said on the second year of the farm. Good. The stubborn, stony Ozark soil of Rocky Ridge Farm started to produce for the Wilders. Manly and Laura read and studied about the orchard business, and their 20 acres of apple trees grew well. They added peach and pear trees to the orchard, and then planted strawberries and raspberries between the tree rows. Very smart. They built an arbor and planted grapes. On the cleared land, Manly planted fields of oats and corn and wheat. When he looked over the farm and saw the crops growing in smooth green meadows and pastures, he said, I can hardly bring my mind back to the rough, rocky, ugly, brushy place we first called Rocky Ridge Farm. Although they both were interested in every aspect of farming that was done on Rocky Ridge, Manly and Laura also decided to each select a specialty. Laura chose the poultry. She did like chickens. She liked chickens. She was always proud that selling her chickens and eggs during that first winter on the farm had helped buy needed food and supplies from town. Manly decided that he would handle the cows. Oh, I don't know. Laura liked cows. We'll see. He said that Rocky Ridge was a natural dairy farm with much good clear spring water available and good grazing grass growing where the trees were cleared. When he and Laura bought another 40 acres to add to the farm, there was plenty of land for a herd of cattle. Remember, it was like, oh, we have a cow. Oh, we have 2 cows. They were so excited once when the Ingalls, they had like 3 cows. A herd of cattle. So Laura's making I said, but see, Almanza's a better farmer. Almanza's not a Charles Ingalls. Remember, Farmer Boy? They were very prosperous people. So she married up. While they were expanding the farm, the Wilders also enlarged the cabin at the edge of the ravine. And I've been out there, and it is all ravines and rocks and things. Lovely. After their first winter in the tiny log house, Manly added a frame room with real windows and a door. Yay! And in the spring of 1896, he and Laura selected a new building site, a few steps from the cabin, but still on the ravine's edge. They removed the new frame room from the old cabin and rolled the room on big logs to the new site. Oh, they said, okay, we're going to build a whole new house, like over there, but I like this room. So let's take it off the house and put it on rollers, like we're Egyptians building the pyramids here, and roll this whole thing up the hill to the new house. Crazy. That's crazy. They just rolled it up. How hard did that have to be? How heavy is a whole frame room? They just take a whole room and put it on logs and roll. That had to take forever. It's like building Stonehenge. Roll it up, roll those boulders. They left the cabin to be used as a barn. Then Manly built a new room and joined the 2 rooms together with a sleeping loft above for Rose. That was the beginning of the new house on Rocky Ridge Farm. So Rose gets a loft just like Laura had. Once the Wilders became acquainted with their neighbors, there were country corn-husking parties and frolics. And barn dances and quilting bees to attend. In the summer, there were outdoor singings and play parties to enjoy. Laura loved dancing. There is always a little music in my feet, she explained. Well, she inherited that from Pa. Remember, Pa not only played the fiddle, they said when he was younger, he danced. He sang and danced in shows. At parties, when the fiddlers and banjo players tuned up for Sweet Betsy from Pike, or Ta-ra-ra-boom-die, or There'll Be a Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight, Laura was ready to dance. Do you remember that one? There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. I remember there'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. Because they're getting almost into the 20th century now. The food at the Ozark gatherings the Wilders attended during those early years was always bountiful. Long boards covered with tablecloths held so many baskets and bowls and platters that no space remained uncovered. Laura's own specialty for parties was her gingerbread. Oh, gingerbread. Maybe that's the next thing I'll make in the new oven. It should be gingerbread. I have molasses. I can make gingerbread. And gingerbread made from an old recipe she'd learned from Ma. Whenever there was a dinner or the Methodist church ladies were planning a social, Laura was asked to bring a pan of spicy gingerbread. Oh, and the gingerbread cookies. At home, Laura saved the gingerbread for special occasions. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Rose's December birthday, or her own birthday or Manly's, both of which were in February. Yeah, gingerbread's kind of a winter. It's a Christmassy thing, right? That's so good. Rose was ambitious to make the gingerbread recipe, and she never forgot her first experience baking it. Uh-oh, how old is she at this point? Was she like 9 or something? I'm trying to make gingerbread. It was Manly's birthday, and he and Laura were gone for the day. They left her completely alone on the farm. Yes, like they had the 3-year-old stoking the fire. They've left Rose completely alone on the farm. She's like 7, 8, I don't know. Rose had been given permission to bake the birthday gingerbread, even though she remembered it. My mother had often left me to watch the bread baking, and every time she did it, I was lost in a book, until she rushed into the full-of-smoke house and snatched cinders of loaves out of the oven. How many times did Rose almost burn the house? Okay, Rose burned the house down once when she was 3. I mean, she was 3. She didn't mean to, but she had a 3-year-old stoking the fire, and the sleeves got on fire. Now, Rose is almost burning the house down. Again, I wouldn't let Rose, she doesn't... It's very hard to bake if you can't concentrate. You either need a timer or you really got to pay attention. Yeah, someone just said, yeah, don't let Rose near the stove. Rose should not be around fire. I think it's clear. She just is one of these people, should not be around fire. She can get other people to do that for her. That's terrible. But Rose was proud that her mother, whom she called Mama Bess, trusted her with the gingerbread. She was determined to be especially careful baking her first gingerbread and not burn the house down like last time. I was excited, of course, here's Rose, and nervous, but I made the gingerbread carefully, measuring everything and watching its baking. The gingerbread baked perfectly, and I had just taken it out of the oven when the minister came to call. All the duties of hostess were mine unexpectedly, and I felt important. I welcomed the minister, seated him in the front room, spoke politely about the weather and such, then excused myself for a minute and returned with napkins, glasses of water, and 3 pieces of the hot gingerbread, proudly served. Oh, she probably made a lot of it. It's like, oh, great, I can try it out on the minister. He can test it before I give it to Dad. That makes sense. And she got it out. She didn't set the house on fire. She did. You see, back then you couldn't set a timer and wait for it to go ding and run in and go get your bread. Whatever. You had to, go, looks done to me. And, wood-burning stoves. It was a very, very dicey business. So this sounds good. So she's got this gingerbread. Now we're going to find out. The minister was surprised and pleased. He looked slightly startled at first, but ate a piece slowly. He declined a second and soon left. Uh-oh. I ate none myself, saving it for that special supper that evening. I would not have cut it for anyone, but such a caller was the minister. Well, she figured they'd understand. Okay, why did you cut the gingerbread? What was the minister? Oh, okay. Who took one bite and said, gotta go. Turned down free gingerbread and left. She hasn't tasted it. She didn't taste it herself. She didn't taste it before she gave it to the minister. And now, even though the minister ate one piece and went, see ya, it didn't occur to her to go, maybe check the gingerbread. Okay. After supper, my father, my mother, and I each took a piece of that beautiful, soft, red-brown gingerbread. As tempting as any my mother had baked. But it burned. It seemed to blister on our tongues. I had used hot cayenne pepper by mistake instead of ginger. Aha! That's where the episode came from. Now you know. See, this is the thing. Again, I say, people say, the show is not like the books. It is not historically accurate. Aha! But just like she left some of her painful memories of like her baby brother dying out of the books, and then we put them in the show. And several things that she left out of the books, we snuck into the show. And they really did move away from Walnut Grove. They really did run a hotel. And there really was a fire. And they really did move back to Walnut Grove. Like, oh, hello, that happened. So we did a lot of things that weren't in the books, that were in detailed things. And the cinnamon chicken episode. So, of course, in this case, it was much earlier. There was no Rose yet. Laura's in love with Almanzo. And my mother's trying to get Almanzo for me. And so we have him over for dinner. And he said he liked cinnamon chicken. We're like, who the heck ever heard of cinnamon chicken? But we decided to make cinnamon chicken. And, of course, Nellie can't cook. So we get Laura to cook it. She's like, oh, yeah, I'll totally do it. And Laura replaces the cinnamon with cayenne pepper, resulting in me and Dean Butler performance of a lifetime, where Dean and I sputter and cough. And it was amazing. We were so good. We turned red. We were not eating cayenne pepper, and yet we both turned red, and we're coughing. Oh, we were good, and chugging that water till my eyes bugged out of my head, and Michael going, no, you have to finish that water. Don't put it down. Oh, man. It was so much fun. We love doing that. However, cinnamon chicken is delicious, and yes, I do know how to make it. I do know how to make cinnamon chicken, have made it. So one wonders, where does one get a kooky story where someone replaces cinnamon with cayenne pepper, causing a disaster? And Amanda's in the story. So how could that ever happen? Because it certainly didn't happen in the books. In the books, there's nothing with Nellie having Amanda over and Laura making cayenne pepper chicken. But oh look! In real life, Rose replaced the ginger and the gingerbread with cayenne pepper. And Laura and Almanzo ate it. So Almanzo actually did eat something that he thought was not going to be hot, and it was cayenne pepper. It really happened! So we said, here you go. We snuck things in. We snuck things into the show. We were so sneaky. So the poor Methodist minister, oh no, the Methodist minister may have been an exception, for visitors who came to Rocky Ridge left the Wilder home with memories of tasty food and interesting talk, and the sight of a prosperous farm being carved out of Ozark land. Good health, good homes, a good living, good times, and good neighbors, Laura said as she thought of their life on Rocky Ridge Farm during the first years in the Ozarks. What more could anyone want, she wondered. Well, that's true. Good health, good homes, good living, good times, good neighbors. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yes, normally the cooking was not deadly. There's always at least one terrible recipe. So there's some pictures. We got pictures. Is this the end of this? There's more, right? There's more yappity yap here, or is there all pictures? Oh no, that was the end. That was Rose poisons the minister and her parents. But there's pictures. There's so many pictures. Okay, wait, picture. So this is Laura when she was 70 years old in 1937, and this is when On the Banks of Plum Creek was published. So she'd already done Little House in the Big Woods, and Farmer Boy, and Little House on the Prairie. So she's already on her fourth book. That's why she's smiling. She's making a few dollars. This is Laura. She's already on to her fourth book and writing, but this is Laura in the 1930s as a grown-up older lady. There she is. She looks pretty good. She actually, you know how nowadays people all look so young. People are like, I'm 75, and they're, all done up with makeup and fillers or whatnot. And we look back at old movies and go, well, that guy looks old. What's he, about 52 or so? The bald guy, he's 35. And people seem to look older. Okay, she's 70. She looks great. She looks like someone who's 70 now, who's like totally vibrant and fabulous. Lauren Almanzo with Ben the Bulldog at home on Rocky Ridge in the 1940s. You can't really see that well. It's a little bit of shade, but you can see that Almanzo's rather tall, Laura's pretty short, and the dog is cute. It's the cute dog. There you go. This is one picture you can see well. This is Laura signing books in Springfield, Missouri in 1952, which was 85. And she looks pretty good for 85, actually. So, there's so many schools now named for Laura Ingalls Wilder. There's Laura Ingalls Wilder Elementary School, etc., etc. And this may be there. I'm sure they all know, and they've got a whole exhibit with their books. And look at these kids. It's just like now. They're getting autographs of a famous person they like. Look at that. Look how happy they are. There she is. Burp. And look how excited these little girls are. Just like now. It's just like now with little girls excited to get their little house books. Laura at home on Rocky Ridge. One of her, oh, she's 87 when this photo was taken. Okay, we're already into the 50s and totally monetized. Now, you can hardly see. She's in a black dress and it's black and white and there's weird shading. But yeah, she looked good for 87. I can sort of see. There you go. If I tilt it a little, you kind of see. There she is. But we're already into the 50s. Laura with her friend and driver, Jim Hartley, and her new 1954 Oldsmobile. Now, we've been reading endlessly about Laura and covered wagons and buggies and sleigh rides and everything driven by horses. This is Laura with her car, with her Oldsmobile. This is her car. This is her car that she rode around in. There's Laura and a car. So it's like, we've crossed into modern time. Yay, pause fiddle. And that is, you can go see it. It's there in the museum. This is like a million photos. I don't know. Some of this is like, and here's a thing, and here's a desk, and here's a, oh, the glass bread plate that survived. We've seen that. She did have a clock. Oh, Almanzo gave this clock to Laura for a Christmas surprise in 1886. It is still ticking in the Wilder home on Rocky Ridge Farm today. So this is probably how they started timing that bread, but there you go. That was a present to Laura, 1886. Still there, over 100 years. The family Bible, the thing, and the rock house. You can hardly see this. You look it up online. Yeah, you can't see that at all. It's the rock house, which Rose built for Almanzo and Laura in 1928. And if you go, again, to Rocky Ridge, you'll see it. It's lovely. But there it is. So tomorrow, we'll be doing the Gem City of the Ozarks, Chapter 13, where Mansfield becomes almost like a big city. I have more root beer. I have more crackers. Things! There's so many things to do today. It's a Monday, where you look at your list and go, I'm not getting all this done today. But, one can try. The pie, the lemon meringue pie that you saw me munching yesterday, the 2 pies. So I made 2. One was for my friend David, who really likes lemon meringue pie, and I had made him a pie once before, and he liked it. So this was a better batch. I said, you have to come get one of these pies, because it's a better batch. So he got one, and then the other one, I sent some over to my friend Steve, and then we ate a lot of it, and it's huge. There's still some left. We've eaten almost all the carob brownies. So, I don't know, gingerbread, chocolate chip cookies, I don't know. I'm going to make more stuff. I'm going to totally make more stuff. And there you are. And, picture of cayenne pepper. There should be pictures of Laura eating cayenne pepper cake. Should I make I'm not making cayenne pepper cake. I will make cinnamon chicken at some point. I will do that. You guys are great. So, this is fun. And, yes, wash your hands. Wear your little masks. Call your little friends, take care of each other, don't get sick. Yay. And if it's hot where you are, because it's hot a lot of places, get in the shade, hydrate, drink water, drink lots of water. It's good for you, drink water. It's drinking water, you don't dehydrate, you don't get sick in the heat. Slowly, don't gulp cold water. We used to do that on the set. It was like 1,000,000 degrees, and we'd gulp the cold water, and you'd pass out and get sick. So sipping, but drink lots of water. And it's good for your skin. Just saying. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.